Welcome back to Almost the Weekend. I'm Besa Gordon.
And I'm Curtis Stilgardo II, a.k.a. Cuddy.
And of course, we have a lovely show for you guys this week. So we have a lot of guests, so let me run it down. First of all, of course, we have my girl Trey Renee for City Beats. We also have Davida Ingram from the Seattle-King County African American Reparations Committee. We also have Michael Ling Jr., who is one of the actors and acts on stages Detroit 67. In the meantime, between time, you already know what time it is. It is time for our weekend warm-up. So, of course, I'm going to pass it on over to Cuddy.
Come on, and I'm going to get the people right every time. So, starting us off for our weekend warm-up, first we have a dope collab, because now this is P&W at its finest. We got Mood Swings and Late Nights R&B, which is providing the ultimate, basically like the Super Bowl of R&B parties. You got Mood Swings from Portland, Oregon, and then you have Late Night R&B with Laid Back Allure. So this is happening Friday, November 7th at Voo Lounge from 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. You can get your tickets via Eventbrite. And then also on Friday, we got the First Friday CD Art Walk, which is presented by Made Space Seattle. It is an art walk throughout the whole Central District and is happening Friday, November 7th. It's a place you can start at is Midtown Square, which is from 6 to 9 p.m. The event is free, so just find your favorite art place in the Central District. And moving on, and this one is very much fitting as we are in the holiday season, we have Big Bag Free Thanksgiving, brought to you by Jacqueline Bones. And pretty much, it's an online webinar where her and her team are teaching us how to have a healthier holiday. Typically, we decide to overindulge in meals when it comes to Thanksgiving. However, she's given us healthier options this year around. So make sure that you RSVP via the link in Eventbrite and get that online link today. So planning ahead, we have an event called Guard Your Grill Tour Round 2, brought to you by Ease the Brand, which is a custom grill tour by a company that specializes in protective mouth grills. So a grill that you can not only flex in, but also protects your teeth while doing it. And this is happening Saturday, November 15th at 915 Thomas Street, Seattle. And tickets can be found via Eventbrite. This event will be taking place from 1 to 5 p.m. And lastly, capping off my weekend warm-up, we have an event reminder. This is Listen Better, brought to you by How to Listen, which is the ultimate vibe session, happening Thursday, December 11th at Medier Brewing, the Cherry Street location from 7 to 11 p.m. Tickets can be found via Eventbrite or howtolisten.org. It is a free event, however, donations are accepted. And yeah, that's my weekend warm-up.
Hey.
Come on.
Hey, I didn't get caught off guard this time.
Hello.
You know, I be like in my notes and I'm like, oh, you're done.
Come on.
Okay, let's get into my weekend warm-up. First of all, wait, real quick, rewind. No big back activities?
Yeah, it's no big back activities, man. You know, it's time we have to say no.
We have to say no.
Because we're enabling us to, all right, only carry on future problems that, all right, these health problems and concerns that we have, we're adding to it with the foods that we glorify during this holiday. Now, there's nothing wrong with having them. However, portion control is everything. You don't need 8 to-go boxes. Like, you don't need that. You're not even going to eat on that. By the third day, it's going to be nasty anyways. Like,
that's what the freezer's for.
Right. But we need to be able to also cleanse ourselves, too. Think about how much we stock up. You're eating all the mac and cheese. We got the turkey ham. And it's all good stuff. However, health is wealth. And we want to be here for the long run and experience a lot more Thanksgivings to come.
That's fair.
We don't need people falling off. And when we come to the next Thanksgiving, we one less person short because of something that has to do with their diet. So I think it's a dope event because, again, too much of anything is bad. So giving us this healthier option and outlook on it, I feel like it's a cool idea.
And then also we should have more options.
Yeah, and have more options.
Like,
you can still have that stuff.
There's nothing wrong with the, traditional foods that we have on Thanksgiving, but I do think that
the ratio's off.
Yeah, we need to be more forward thinking with people and their diets. Like with me and my skin, there's so many things that I'm not supposed to be eating. And so to be able to go to a Thanksgiving meal and have like things that are delicious, but like also on that healthier spectrum would be absolutely amazeballs.
Cause it's like me, I'm a side. I just get the sides. I don't even.
And then you be mad sluggish the next day. Let's not.
Yeah, that too. It's like, come on, bro. Let's just eat, go have fun. Play spoons. Get it popping. Come on.
Okay, so in other non-big back activities, because this has nothing, well, actually it does have to do a little bit with food, but not really. There is a multicultural fashion show going down over at Crystal Mountain. It's being put on by Dayspring Young Mothers Program. The fashion show is happening Saturday, November 8th. There will be a vendor showcase, yummy food, and a runway show highlighting some amazing designers. The event is free, but pre-registration is requested. And for y'all that don't understand what that actually means, that means, can we please have a head count? Because, people be mad when there's not enough food, when there's not enough chairs set out, when people don't have, enough staffing. A lot of that comes into your pre-registration. So being like, oh, okay, I'll just show up. Yeah, definitely just show up and not feel like you have to pay to get in, but help the event coordinators out by pre-registering so they know how many people will be there. Okay. Now, this one is more so of like a community fundraiser. It's called Snapped, Football, Food, and Fun for a Cause. This is happening by my girl, Allison Fine, and it's going to be over at the Dock Sports Bar and Grill. So basically, they would like for you to make a donation of at least $20, and then they want for you to bring at least 5 non-perishable items, any kind, between the day of the event, which is actually this Sunday. I probably should have told you that. The event is Sunday from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., which means that you have plenty of time to pull up after church, okay? Once you get there, you'll get a wristband that gets you inside the Snapped Comedy and Variety Show, which means your donation also gets you into a good time. Next, I just found this one, and I love a good moment over at the Crocodile, okay? They are having a happy hour over at Hotel Crocodile, and some of y'all didn't even know that there was a hotel upstairs, so definitely make sure that you explore the venue whenever you get a chance. But there's going to be legendary drinks and iconic vibes, and it is happening November 11th at 5 p.m. Now, my last event, and just random things that I just happened to find online, it is called November Morbid Market. Spooky vegan cakes, antiques, and weird jewelry.
Vegan cakes?
Yeah.
What? Heard you. Why gotta be spooky? I thought we was done. Ain't October over? See, bro, y'all don't get enough. I'm trying to chill.
He was intrigued for a hot second.
Yeah, then you lost me at spooky. It's like, dog, we're still not done.
I almost had him, y'all. But let me read it. It says, this one's on Saturday, by the way. November 8th, Morbid Market is rapidly approaching. Local vendors will be selling spooky baked goods, odd arts, disturbing vintage stuff, and more. Head to the back of the Mudlark Oddities. So this is actually happening at Mudlark Oddities and Curiosities for this strange little market.
Strange.
Little market. I'm always intrigued by the things.
For a piece of change.
First of all, that's my last event. Second of all, I have to show you guys something that I did over the weekend. And I think that Cuddy will be very, very proud when he sees what I did.
Sure. Oh, you went swimming? Oh, let me see. Oh, Nachi wins. Oh, wait, hold on. And wait. So, like, what was you guys doing? Yoga?
So what we did was, I'm gonna put up the flyer because I can't remember the name of the event, and it was super duper.
You got an air mattress.
But let me say that again so I can give people the right name of the event.
That's hard.
I got short arms. My bad. Let's see. Inward Visions. Okay, put on a. Let me find the event. You guys.
You didn't have no life vest on either. See?
I did have a life vest on.
Oh,
I'm the one in the life vest.
Me. Oh, heard you. See,
I am the one person in a life
baby steps. At least you was out there.
It was called Serenity Floats, a floating sound bath experience.
Ooh, a floating sound bath.
I didn't even know about this. Shout out to Marie Cadet. Apparently they reached out to her and they were like, yo, if she wants to come, we have an extra seat for her. And I was like, so wait, I get in the pool and I float? And they were like, yeah, but then you have the option to just sit on the ledge. So I get there, and it was over at Megan Evers
sit on
pool.
The ledge?
Well,
you might as well get your money's worth.
That's basically what they told me. Yeah. I was going to go over to the shallow pool, and they were like, you're going to go to the shallow pool? I was like, I can't swim. And they were like, well, are you worried that you're going to fall in? I said, yes. And so they were like, well, what we can do is we can give you a life vest. And so I put my hair up in a pony, put on my little life vest and my blanket,
Do what you had to do.
Floating with sound bowls and
Sound
instruments
bowls
and
very
hummings
soothing.
and just water just it was the best thing ever on a Saturday.
Come on. I'm proud of you. I'm
I was
happy
like,
for
Cuddy
you.
would be so proud.
You conquered your fears and you got out there. I'm happy for you. And that's dope. That actually is like a vibe, I'm not gonna lie.
It was a vibe. 90
Because the sound
minutes.
bath on YouTube at the crib is a good vibe. So imagine you on a pool, you got the instructor right there doing his thing, he or she. That's cool.
It was a vibe.
Why you ain't tell me? I would have slid. Now, so you want to tell me about the underground spooky stuff and go?
Now,
like
I said, I didn't know about it.
Now I can't get my peace and tranquility.
I found out about it like the day before.
So that's more than enough time. I just got to throw on some shorts. So I get out. Right there.
We
live down the street from each other. That's what's crazy.
I got you next time.
Yeah.
I got you next time.
Next time.
I got you for sure. Because you would have actually enjoyed that.
Come on.
So with that being said, now that you guys found out a little something that I did last week, and I had to share it because I'm always talking about how I can't swim and I don't do water, but I just wanted y'all to know I tried something new this
Come on,
weekend.
let her be an influence. So, hey, now that you see this weekend, you should try something new and do something that you've never done before or had a fear of doing.
Absolutely, and
that's our almost the weekend challenge.
Try something new. And
Tag
my
us.
birthday is on. Let's see, this airs. We're obviously on Thursdays, so this coming Monday is my birthday. So this
it's
year,
a 40.
I am trying new things, and
It's
if that
a
means getting in
40.
the water in a life vest.
Wait, so we
it.
might have a party next week. We're gonna have to have a party. Hey, we having a party. And this weekend, whatever you decide to do, just tag us. Make a reel, a little video. Tag Almost the Weekend, Besa and Cuddy the Sensei. And we are gonna share it and promote you and give you your flowers because, hey, you conquered something, my boy.
Absolutely. Now, in terms of other things that are going on, look, you guys, we are going to go to a quick commercial break, but when we return, we are tapping in with my girl, Trey Renee, for City Beats to find out what is going down in Portland. Of course, it's almost the weekend.
What's up, Seattle? It's your boy Cuddy here tapping in just to let you know that no matter where the place to be, King County Metro will get you to where you need. It could be a ride to the airport, whether you're taking off or touching down, King County Metro, or a game. So save yourself time with traffic and get into places like Westlake Center, Pike Place Market, or even the waterfront. Rather by light rail or bus, choose King County Metro. It's the only way to go.
Welcome back to Almost the Weekend. Of course, I'm Besa Gordon, and right now it is time for City Beats. We tap in with my girl, Trey Renee, over in Portland to see what's going down.
All right, let's get this going. All right, first off, it is all about wellness. So let's talk about the WellPoint Community Health Fair, also known as Wellness Palooza. It sounds amazing, and I'm very excited about it because I am all about the wellness. This is going down on Saturday, November 8th. That is this Saturday from 11 a.m. to 1. All right, so this is something normally we don't have very many activities in Vancouver, Washington to talk about, but not today. Okay, this is happening at Living Hope Church over there, 2711 Northeast Anderson Road in Vancouver. This is an absolutely free community event. Again, it's a health fair. Very, very important to get your wellness on. You will have access to valuable healthcare resources, breast and cervical screening appointments. Everything's free. Free culturally congruent produce even. Yes, because of course you have to eat well to be well. Free blood pressure checks, vaccinations, educational opportunities, doula resources, and so much more. Shout out to the folks at WellPoint Community Health Fair. They're putting on Wellness Palooza again. That's Saturday, 11 a.m. to 1 in Vancouver, Washington at Living Hope Church. So you can get your day started with that. And then, we have more events to talk about. How about Elate Youth Mentoring along with Wealthy got together for a care package winter drive? I don't know. It's getting cold out here, okay? It's already been raining. It's getting ready to be like hats, glove, coat season, scarves, blankets, socks. They need all the things, accepting new or gently used items only. This is both Saturday and Sunday. Saturday from noon until 3 and Sunday from 1 until 4. All sizes are needed. This is at the factory. That's the donation site. The factory in Portland, 4839 Northeast 106th Avenue. Elate Youth, love my girl Cameo over there, and Wealthy, love Juma. Make sure that you connect with them and give back to the community, right? You get your health on at the wellness fair, and then you give back to others with the care package winter drive that's going down. Now, time for some fun. Are you ready, Besa, to return Black to Love? Because that is what's happening on Saturday night. Get ready for the intro to Returning Black to Love. This is a dope panel discussion. They have a whole lineup with a very powerful conversation, an amazing acting cast for this stage play. I don't know if you've heard about it, but they're even going to have food at this event. Wine, comp, yay! And some major raffles. This is going down Saturday night at Portland Center Stage. Tickets are still available, but they are selling super duper duper fast. And so you want to make sure you get in on this. It sounds like a lot of fun, and it could be informational. I mean, this is moderated by my guy, Lakiana Drury of Word is Bond out here in Portland. The panelists, in case you would like to know, David Jefferson, co-founder of Returning Black to Love and CEO of Stacking Kicks Mentor. Keela Jones is also on the panel. Marte Brown, love me some Marte. He's been on my show, Situations and Conversations. And it looks like Jasmine Smith, clinical social worker after my own heart, is also going to be on the panel. My girl Abibat is a part of this as well. So this is the Returning Black to Love series, segment 1. The panelists, this is supposed to be so dope. I'm very excited about it. Saturday night, Portland Center Stage. Tickets are available, but they are selling fast. And so there you have. That's what's popping out here in Portland, baby. I mean, I'm telling you, the weekend is always popping out here. We got a lot going on.
Big shout out to my sis Trey Renee for always letting us know what's going down in the Portland area, and make sure that you guys are pulling up yourself. You already know I'm always trying to hop on an Amtrak and go over there and go to some of these different events. Also, make sure that you keep up with her on social media at The Real Trey Renee. Tap in with her on Jammin' in the Middays. Middays? Did I say it like that? Yes, I did. Tap in with her in the middays. And then, of course, also check out her TV show, Situations and Conversations, Sundays on Portland CW. Now, in the meantime, in between time, child, we have a lovely little commercial break. But when we come back, we have Michael Ling Jr., who is one of the actors in Detroit 67. Of course, you're watching Almost a Weekend.
Hey friends, Besa Gordon here. You see the shots and you see the vibe. I gotta give a huge shout out to the man, the myth, the legend, Jordan Summers and Summers Media. Seriously, Jordan doesn't just take pictures, he captures the essence. Every time I step in front of that lens, I know it's gonna be a moment. If you're trying to get your right shots, the ones that truly stand out, hit him up and tell Jordan that Besa sent you.
Welcome back to Almost a Weekend. I'm Besa Gordon, and me and Cuddy have a very, very dope guest with us. His name is Michael Ling Jr., and he's a part of Acts on Stage play Detroit 67. And I'm very, very happy to learn a little more about it and his part within the show. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Of
Sir,
course.
what up, Mike? We've been having a good conversation.
Yeah, so far.
Yep, great vibes. Well, yeah, we appreciate you being here, and just starting off the interview, just more so want to get to know you as a person. So I know your roots hail from Riverside, California.
Yeah.
And now you're calling Seattle, or the Pacific Northwest per se, now home. So I guess just, kind of telling the people what it was like coming up in Riverside, and then just also with how that transitioned into you coming up here, and just how both places have influenced you as an actor.
Yeah, absolutely. When I was a kid, we used to do this thing with my brothers, because I grew up with 7 siblings. So we used to do this thing as kids. We would act out movies and kind of just go through different scenes in movies, and then so I would usually make up whatever the scene was, and then we'd act it out as kids.
Okay. Yeah.
And there's this weird game we used to play called Big Cats, and we would pretend like we was like lions and tigers on the savannah, and we would hunt our pillows or whatever it was. So I mean, acting has kind of always been with me for a long time. Yeah.
In the blood.
And so I actually grew up in, I was born on March Air Force Base in Riverside. And I kind of spent a lot of my time all over the IE, the Inland Empire, out in California. So shout out to the IE. And then I moved from California to Las Vegas first, and then from Vegas to up here. So I've been here since 2019. Yeah, 2019.
Oh,
yeah.
nice. So, you got a couple different places to
Yeah.
that adds
Yeah.
to the influence.
And that's why you like Jerk Shack so much.
Right.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
Because, a lot of people that do shows, like, they come up and then they leave. So it's good to know that you've been here for a minute.
Yeah, no, I appreciate being up here. It's home for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So next, I know we're going to be talking about Detroit 67, but I just kind of wanted to touch back on some of the other roles that you played in, as far as like the plays like A Soldier's Play or Sadie's Kitchen, both which are powerful stage productions. I kind of just wanted to know what drew you to those roles, and like what, like, through those performances that you can say now, like, led to like the preparation to be able to now fit this role that you play in Detroit 67.
Yeah, absolutely. Few years back, my best friend, Mike Davis, he invited my daughter and I to a show. And it was at the Langston Hughes Theater. And, my initial thought was like, I don't want to go see, I lived in Linwood at the time, so we had to drive
Shout
an
out
hour.
Linwood.
Yeah. So we'd have to drive an hour to come down and, see the play. And I was like, man, I don't want to come to go see like some high school show, So he was like, nah, it's not that, it's dope. So we go down there, and it was Acts on Stage, the teen summer musical that was going on. And which, shout out to the teen summer musical. They just sold out the Benaroya Hall this past summer. So, shout out to them. But we went, saw the teen summer musical, and while my daughter was there, she was inspired. Now, she's been acting her whole life also. And she was like, Dad, that's what I want to do. Because where we came from, there weren't a lot of kids that looked like her. Like Linwood is a predominantly white town. So there weren't a lot of kids that looked like her, and she was getting passed over for roles also. So she wasn't able to get some of the leading roles in some of the shows that she was doing. So when we got down there, she saw all these black kids on stage and singing and dancing and performing, and she was inspired. So she started going. Well, when she got there, my daughter is very talented, but some of these kids are, they're Hollywood worthy, and so my daughter was there, and so these kids are really good, and so she had to check herself, because she's like, man, I need to learn more. And so while she was there, it took us, so it's about an hour drive, so it took us about maybe 10 minutes to get to the freeway so we can get back up to Linwood. So I would tell her, you got about 10 minutes to go through your day and complain about everything you want to complain about, but once we get on the freeway, you just got to tell me 4 things or 5 things that were good about the day. So one day, the 10 minutes wasn't enough for her. And she told me that. She was like, Dad, 10 minutes ain't enough for me. I need to keep going. And so I'm like, okay. So she actually was the one that told me, like, hey, Dad, I think you should get involved in one of the shows. And, Isaiah Anderson Jr., he was talking to me about another show he was doing, and my daughter was like, you should get involved because I need you to see what I go through on a regular basis. And so I was like, yeah, I'll jump into one. And I got my start with A Soldier's Play. And it was an amazing role. And that was my first time on stage. And just being under the direction of Isaiah, and Acts on Stage is like a family, And so you get there, and the first rehearsal, it was 12 black men in this, well, no, actually, there was 10 black men and 2 white guys, but we were all in the studio and all found commonality with each other, and it was just dope. It became a camaraderie really quickly, and it was dope. And then, so Sadie's Kitchen was just a slide to the left, like I just jumped right in. So, yeah, I just appreciate Acts on Stage and just the journey into acting.
And how would you say those 2 roles have prepared you now for this role that you have with Detroit 67?
Oh, absolutely. The preparation has been more on the part of the director that I work with, Isaiah, and just the way that he goes about preparing the actors for the show is, I've never seen that before, And so being in a position to where I can, just learn, and going to rehearsal and not having to have it right all the time, but just putting in the work to be at this point now, it's definitely been an amazing journey for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that baby girl said, Dad, I'm going to need you to step in my shoes one time.
For real.
Come here.
For real. For real.
Speaking of this current show that you're in, Detroit 67, for those that don't know, can you tell us what the play is about? And then also, what role are you playing in it?
Yeah. So just to kind of give you guys a modernized version, imagine trying to throw a house party during the George Floyd riots. That's that's basically what it's like, you know, like the city's on fire and we're trying to throw a party in our basement and, you know, and have people come through. And so even though you can, and I'm not going to give away the whole show, you know, because we want y'all to come see it. But it's like that. And there's an element to it that is, you know, that has a lot to do with race. There's an element that has a lot to do with family. It's just a really good show. So if you're going on a date, you can come see the show. If you got kids, bring your kids to come see the show. It's a really good show. And Acts on Stage they don't do bad work. You know, everything that they do is on par and good. So definitely come out and see it.
So I'm curious to know, because what a visual. Being with the visual that you just gave us, like trying to have a house party during George Floyd.
Yeah.
How does the contrast of what's going on within the city actually show up on that stage? And did it ever hit you emotionally?
So that's the thing about Acts on Stage shows is as actors, we dive in. We dive into our characters. We dive into the work that we're doing. And Isaiah does a really good job at making space for us to do that. I haven't been at a lot of other theater houses, but one of the things I will say about Acts on Stage that I think is different is we actually have conversations around the issues that are happening. So like when I just talked about A Soldier Story, there were two white guys in that story and they had to say the N-word, you know, and it was a part of the show with them. But we sat and had conversation around that. And we had conversation to help them understand and also some of the black men that were in that show to understand. And Acts on Stage does a Q&A after every show. So the audience gets to ask the cast questions. And the very first question of the very first show that we did in The Soldier Story was somebody stood up and was like, to one of the white guys, he was like, how long did it take you to say the word, you know, the N-word on the show? And we were just like, and it was just a funny thing, but it was also serious, you know, because it was like, yeah, we want to know, like, is that something that you use in your everyday life, you know? So you definitely dive into it and get into your character and have the emotion around the show, because I really am, my character's name is Sly, and I'm really trying to portray who Sly is and what Sly does, you know, on a regular basis. So yeah, you're locked in, you know, you're definitely emotionally invested.
So with that though, does that like now kind of adjust how you go about your daily routine now, since you're trying to embody that character and like in that space would have to now think and move as like Sly would?
Absolutely.
So you're like consistent and all
Yeah,
that.
you know, one of the things that Isaiah talks about is, you know, you'll have the character when in your everyday life you're using lines from the show in your everyday life, you know?
That's real.
And so I find myself using lines from the show in my everyday life, you know, like, so Sly's character and my personality are different. There are definitely some similarities, but we're different people, you know? And so when I am going about my everyday, or I'm out somewhere doing something and I'll start to pick up some of the characteristics that Sly has in the show, you know, yeah, at that point, you know you're locked in and ready to go.
I'm always curious to know how actors kind of snap out of that.
Yeah.
Or do you, because, you know, sometimes the role might be what you didn't know that you needed to add into yourself. So is there ever times where you keep certain parts of that character to where you're like, this wasn't me, but now I feel like I need to be that? And then for the parts of you that you don't want to keep, but are, you know, from that method acting, it's a real thing, you know what I'm saying? Like, how do you get rid of those?
So during A Soldier Story, the Soldier's Play, there was a scene where I had to cry. I was emotional, I had to cry. There's my best friend was in jail and he had just killed himself. So I was being interviewed and I had to portray those emotions in the show. And so I'm sitting there and the audience is as far from me as we are to each other. And I can see people in the audience and I'm crying and I'm talking about my friend. And so I get up out of that moment and I've got to walk back stage and get out of that. I got to shed those emotions because I've got a scene coming up where I have to dance and be excited, you know? And so one of the things that helped me is I would immediately go back, sit in my, the dressing room back there, and I would have to coerce myself out of that emotion. I would play music, something that was uplifting or upbeat, and try to bring myself out of that emotions. So it definitely isn't an easy task, but it's doable, because you also understand this is not who I am, and I think as long as, for me, and I can't speak for everybody, but for me, as long as I'm not lost in my character, I'm good. As long as I can break away from it, I'll be good. So,
Well,
yeah.
speaking about like being locked in that character, and just to the point in which you said of like, this is not who I am, but like in that physical moment, it's who you are. So without that like getting misconstrued, I guess, what would you say is like the message that you're trying to get across as far as like from Sly's perspective on this overall play?
Yeah, I think the message overall is just finding the humanity in the character. I think it's easy for us to look back at 1967 and be like, that's what happened then. But in all honesty, some of that stuff is still going on now, and so I think if we can find the humanity in that character, because they made choices, they made decisions that were good for them back in those times, just like we make everyday choices and everyday decisions today that we think are good for us. And over the long haul, you may look at it and be like, hey, that probably wasn't the best thing, because hindsight is 20/20, right? You could look now back and be like, hey, I would have did it like this, or I would have did it like that. One of the things that is not always easy with doing like period pieces like that is bringing my mentality from 2025 back into 1967, because nowadays ain't no way I'm, moving out the way for somebody walking down the street. Ain't no way cops are just gonna roll, so you have to change that mind frame and, and find the humanity in that character and try to portray that,
Because that was the vibe back then. So you have to
That was the
find,
vibe.
you have to dig into, you literally have to tap into their emotions and their mental state from 1967,
Yes.
which I'm pretty sure is like,
completely different.
yeah, like I can't even think of what that would be like to actually literally have to dive into that and become that, and then forget your own personal mental state for who you are right now,
Yeah.
but still have to become that character on
Yeah.
stage.
I mean, considering now we can go out and just protest, right? We're not, and you still are concerned, but you're not concerned like back then, because you didn't have a say. Back then, if the cops rolled up and told you to leave, you gotta go. Go home, boy. You gotta go. If you stay, you're not gonna make it home. So now we have a little bit more leeway in what we do and the decisions that we make. But back then it just wasn't the same. So yeah, it's definitely there's a huge discrepancy. There's a chasm there that you got to try to get through or get over.
And then another thing, so the music of Motown, it's like another character within the show. How does the soundtrack really shape the energy of each scene?
Man, let me say. So if anybody knows anything about Isaiah, that is his favorite genre of music. Like all the Motown stuff. And me, I grew up listening to Earth, Wind and Fire and Luther Vandross and those kind of guys. And so I love the music anyway. And so even it's funny because you see Isaiah and he's singing the songs during rehearsals. He's singing some of the songs that are going to be on the soundtrack during the rehearsal. So the vibe is there. Like the music is what makes the show. I mean, obviously there's great directing, great set, great acting, but the songs, the music, man, the soundtrack is what does it, Like the soundtrack is really what sets it over the top.
It's the movement.
Yeah.
And then, the story does take place, obviously, in 1967, but the themes, you got family bonds, identity, resilience, love, obviously that stuff still hits today. So what do you hope that people walk away with after they end up seeing Detroit 67?
Yeah, that's a great question. Like I said, for us, one of the big reasons why we do pieces like this is because we want to set a stage or set an area for people to come and have those types of conversations, And so we know what it's like. You and I know what it's like, being in a situation where you're looking at your uncle, your brother, and they're putting their knees in his neck or they're shooting him with his hands up. We understand what that's like to be like, man, that could have been me. That could have been my brother or my uncle or a friend of mine. And so being able to sit in those spaces and really have that conversation and have it along with a person that may not understand what that may look like or what that feels like for them. So being able to be in a space where you can safely have those conversations is a big deal. You know, it's a big deal for us to do that. But also on the lighter side of it, come and have a good time. You know, like we just want people to come and have a good time, see a show, see a great show, come out, be a part of the community, and just, you know, see what Acts on Stage is doing. It's an amazing time, amazing thing.
All right, so really quick, the show is playing from November 14th through the 23rd. What I would like for you to do is look right into the camera, the one without the hood, that's right there.
Oh, okay.
So you're going to make eye contact with it, friend. And then tell everybody, in case they are still a little skeptical, why they should pull up November 4th or on the 15th, 16th, whatever day through the 23rd, so that way they don't miss out on the Tracy.
Absolutely. The biggest deal is that Acts on Stage doesn't do any bad work. Everything we do is with excellence and class and done very well. Acts on Stage is the same group that just sold out the Benaroya Hall this past summer. So that's the kind of shows that we put on. Definitely come check us out. We'd love to see you there.
Awesome sauces. Well, shoot. ActsOnStage.com for tickets.
ActsOnStage.com for tickets.
Make sure that you guys grab your tickets. In the meantime, in between time, Cuddy.
Hey, should be time for a commercial break, right?
It is time for a commercial break. And when we come back, we have Davida Ingram from Seattle King County African American Reparations Committee joining us right here on Almost the Weekend.
Like a warm cup of tea, coffee, or your favorite bowl of soup, Washington Health Plan Finder is here for you. Whether you're exploring your options or need help finding a health insurance plan that meets your needs, you can count on us. Visit wahealthplanfinder.org today. Open enrollment begins November 1st and ends January 15th, 2026.
Welcome back to Almost the Weekend. I am Besa Gordon, and right now we are joined by another amazing guest. Let me get the title right, because y'all know I don't like to mess up on nobody's title. Her name is Davida Ingram, and she's from the Seattle King County African Americans Reparations Committee, and I am excited to talk about the event that they have coming up this weekend. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Besa.
Hey.
Welcome.
Hi, Curtis.
How you doing?
Hi, Curtis. I love that you called us by our full government name. We normally go by Sark. And I was like,
you know,
Sark.
sometimes you got,
Oh,
I
I
mean,
like that.
Sark is
I was like, I like the full government name
Sark
because
is
everybody
in the
needs to
notes,
call.
but sometimes you just got to put a little respect on it.
Yeah, you put a little bit of respect on it. Yeah, we have an event that I've been really excited about that's coming up this Saturday, November 8th. It's going to be at Washington Hall. It's called Reparations, a Party for the People. It's a celebration because Sark has been around for 4 years, and last year we were able to hire a staff person, that's me, and we got a chance to be part of a coalition that has been developing a winning attitude about reparations advocacy in Seattle and King County and Washington State. And one of the big wins of this year was a coalitional win where we ended up getting the first ever Washington State reparations study.
Wow.
Oh, nice. So what would you say like inspired the idea behind just like merging art, culture, and policies, but more so in like a celebratory form, you know?
You know, I would probably say, I would answer that in a lot of different ways. If you are a student of Black liberation and Black history, you know for sure that Black people are master strategists. It's why we have the 1964 Civil Rights Act. It's why we were able to kind of shift the way this country operates. And inside of that has always been Black creativity. So thinking about how to have the civic imagination to achieve reparations inherently means that we would think about creativity. And we have some of the coldest, I would say, R&B artists, hip hop artists. And so to be able to have artists in residence like Black Stacks, like Rel Be Free, to come. I'm also really excited. We have a special appearance from Makata Ebube, who is a really, really beautiful and stunning African dance instructor and performer. And they'll all be part of the night. So we get to celebrate our culture and then also kind of think we're doing oral histories right now, and one of the parts of my job that gets, incredibly serious is sitting down with elders like Claude Burfect, Larry Gossett, Kevin Allen, and asking them, do you have grandkids? How do you feel about your grandbabies maybe living through Jim Crow 2.0? Because that's the mood of the country right now. And there's an inflection point, in my opinion, with reparations where we get to absolutely think the best about everybody. We just did a workshop, and sometimes when we do workshops, I will have predominantly Black folks who are in attendance, or sometimes people who are from other racial backgrounds, and asking the question, how would this room feel if we were living in a country that had done right by Black people already? All of the answers are inevitably are positive and about connection. And those are the exciting parts of reparations work, and being able to use Saturday to get people engaged and let them know it's multi-year work.
So I'm curious, and this could be a loaded question, but I was thinking as you were talking and thinking as you were talking. When it comes to, like you said, how would you feel if your grandchildren were living in a Jim Crow 2.0? But then you also said that we live in a space where we basically have the luxury of being able to hope for the best in people. To you, in your own experience and what you hope for in the future, what does repairing actually look and feel like?
Oh, that's such a great question. So what would repairing look and feel like if we had racial repair right here in Seattle? One profound thing that I think we would be able to address if we had reparations in the Seattle area is, one, to correct the assumption that there's no racial harm that has happened here. You could rightly argue that we did not have chattel slavery. However, what I would say is we've definitely had periods of time when we were investing in the middle class where Black people were absolutely excluded. If you think about levels of harm, there's chattel slavery, then there's Black codes, Jim Crow, weed and seed, the war on drugs, the Black Lives Matter era, and the period of time we're living in right now where literally 320,000, I think that's the figure, Black women have left the workforce. That's astounding. And sitting with reparations is sitting with complexity. So for us, one thing that we know is when we're looking at information where there's a 20-to-1 racial wealth gap here, that's bothersome, right? However, we are optimistic. And when we say we're optimistic, I mean, there are really amazing things because we're asset-based organizers. So when we did our message testing work, one of the things that we learned, which was an incredible surprise, is we're the only county, Seattle's in King County, we're the only county in the entire country where across all racial groups, people support reparations. We had a study of almost 800 people that had that as just a natural result. One of the things that we're embracing is having important conversations. So being able to have political education to explain, why is there a 20-to-1 racial wealth gap between Black and white neighbors? And what are the things that we could do to shift that around? We do have some exciting policy. Like, I like that the Washington State study does not compete with the Covenant Homeowner Act, which really does do effective policy work around redlining, which meant, Black people, we lived in segregated neighborhoods and we're surviving late capitalism. So the homes, I'm a transplant, so the homes that Black communities had in the Central District, when they became attractive to the wealthier folks who were moving into the city during the tech boom, that left us so vulnerable. So thinking about the ways that we can reinvest, not just in housing and land stewardship, but to ask questions around economic opportunity, health, education, and also mass incarceration. I just named the 4 points of the study.
Wow.
Did I answer your question?
I would
So. You get to talk and you're like, you know what? And I also have to make sure that I answered your question.
No, for sure. I have one just more so like reparations could like mean many different things to like different people. So I would say like, how does your committee approach like defining reparations and for like the African American community here in King County?
I'm smiling because you're getting recruited, Curtis. You're getting recruited. Because honestly, what you just asked is something that's part of our practice. So reparations work on our end involves research. So we have a housing and labor report. It's going to be uploaded to our website right after our gala. So we want people to go to SAARC, SAARCPNW.org to get the report. But we ask participatory research questions, which means not this summer, but the summer before last when we had Afropunk on the waterfront. We were out there with a photo booth with questions that said, what is your imagination of reparations? And what I like about that part of our outreach is to see our community members get really serious. I've watched people just go, hey, I have to focus to answer that question, and then sit down and write really thoughtful answers. The answers, in my opinion, are just worth categorizing and looking at because people name different things. When I interviewed for SAARC to get the role, the board asked me that question, and my answer was, reparations for me would be feeling whole on both sides of the Atlantic. So I want to have my roots in the continent of Africa. Like for me specifically, when my mom did her genetic testing, it was important for me to be like, oh, we're from Mali, we're from Congo, we're from Nigeria, we're from Ghana. I don't have to have a generic identity when it comes to rematriation with the motherland, but also because, you know, my family is lucky enough to have uninterrupted roots in the South. So I literally can go to the part of Arkansas where we've lived since the 1800s. Wow. And I'm so glad that my mom would send us there during the summertime. And that's how I would answer that question. For some people, it might be like there's a shorter life expectancy by zip code, but definitely by race in Seattle and King County. So Black people, we typically live at least 6 years younger or less than our white neighbors. So it might be, like in my family, sometimes we're predisposed to cancer, heart disease, diabetes, and there's science that says that comes from weathering. I could definitely see a part of reparations that's simply asking what would allow Black people to have longevity, and what are the things that are compromising and foreclosing on Black life that we can shift.
Nice. Now, let me ask you this. Like, we've obviously had some wins this year.
Yes.
What are some of your goals and things that you guys are aiming for towards 2026? I mean, it's right around the corner.
What's that song that's like, all I do is win, 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 win? All I do is win. Except for, I would say all we do is win, win, win. We did this work as a coalition. So there are definitely, whenever we talk about wins, there's a list of shout outs in my mind where I'm like, the NAACP, a group called WINA, that was incredible. The Legislative Black Caucus took the courage to say that they would make reparations a priority. And then all the community groups. There was a period of time during the budget season where this year was the long legislative session, and it was difficult because of the budget. We had to ask folks to rally for us. And it wasn't just Black folks. Like, Black folks definitely rallied, and I appreciated it, but there was a group called Suru for Solidarity that whenever we were like, hey, we need help, and they were like, say less. And they got on the lines and did emails to say this is important. So as you know, reparations, the study is 18 months. It's multi-year work. Even Converge, making space for us to talk to community. We're imagining almost like a comet where it just keeps getting bigger, and we keep bringing more people with us because it's just worth it. It's worth it to have something that we feel optimistic about. What we know from Evanston, Illinois, they did cash reparations. When they got finished doing that policy work, the biggest win that they had was civic pride. People were proud that they had policy that worked for everyone.
And then for the event on Saturday, maybe you have some people that come to the event and they're new to reparations work. What do you want for them to leave with on their mind, even if it's like next steps?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked that. One, when doing advocacy work, like Saturday, it's many different things. One of them is a fundraiser, but we're living in a time where people might be worried about losing SNAP benefits or keeping their jobs. So the first thing that we did when we set ticketing was we wanted to let people know we want everybody in the room. And if you happen to be there, we want you to feel like everyone has a gift to share with the movement. So you might be someone who wants to help us educate. You might be someone who wants to help us mobilize. You might be someone who wants to help us organize. You might be someone who is Black and has direct descendancy to U.S. chattel slavery. You might also be someone who is a Black immigrant who has solidarity. You just care. You might be someone who is Asian or Latino or white. But what I like about the movement for reparations is, one, you get to be incredibly creative. Like all year round, all we've done is think about what type of graphics can we do? What type of cultural programs can we do? Who can we partner with? Like Acts on Stage, the play that they were talking about, I was like, gotta reach out and talk to them about this incredible play that helps people kind of have a framework for why is it really important to know we're not going back in history. We're stepping forward into repair, and that's a good thing to do because we want to live good lives and enjoy life.
So let me see if I had anything else fun to ask you in here because you know
You
I'm
can ask me
nosy,
anything.
I may have already asked this, but for just in case I missed it, what are some practical steps happening right now in Washington towards reparations, and what are some of the challenges you're currently facing?
Oh, that's a great question. So what are some things that are happening around reparations that is positive, and then what are challenges? Did I get the question right? Okay. I think the most exciting thing right now is being able to hit the streets and help people understand why having a reparations study is important. And that comes with a little bit of nuance. So, for example, the governor of Maryland vetoed their reparations study, and very quickly the movement responded to that, because when we don't do effective reparations studies, one, that means that somehow or another things got misaligned. A reparations study isn't there to study Black people anthropologically. It is to study what are the government policy choices that have harmed Black communities. And it also does something really important, which is to help people understand, once we identify what the harm was, what is a remedy that would, one, survive legal challenge, because there will be legal challenge, and then two, be constitutional in the remedy. So the study, I knew immediately based on people's responses, like, we don't want another study, where we were like, oh, this is an opportunity to talk and have a game plan with our community so everybody understands. Tonight is election night, and you know, SARC is nonpartisan, so we didn't pick a horse in the fight around who would be mayor. But I will say the one thing that stood out for us is, if there is resources that the city of Seattle can put towards reparation, that's a good thing. And that's something that should be pursued. And also it's something that's worth having a conversation at the county level, specifically around King County, because of the message testing results that we have that say, hey, the time is right for pursuing this thing. So those are the challenges. I would say, in general, philanthropically, most people have experienced a dip in funding for racial justice work. And reparations is in a unique position because the reparations movement is on the rise. And when I say we're on the rise, what I mean is California just finished their reparations study a few years back, and they're moving into the policymaking portion of it. So they have stood up an Office of Reparations. And there's lots of conversation in California around, hey, why did the governor veto this? How are we going to respond and organize moving into it? I think it would be wise for Washington State to study California. And I think the West Coast must play its part, because in an ideal world, it may not be as easy to imagine right now just because of the political context that we're in, but reparations would be federal. Think about what it was like when we were going through COVID, when the federal dollars came. That was the cavalry coming. Imagine what it would have looked like if we had to do COVID just with the support from the state or your city or county. Some of us wouldn't have survived, right? So when we can get to the big picture of reparations, that's the federal game plan, but most reparations work is built off of exponential hyperlocal wins.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else, Cuddy?
No, I asked one.
Okay. You said no?
No, yeah, I asked one.
Okay. So what I'm going to have you do is look into that camera, the one without the hood. You want to make eye contact with it.
Making eye
Hey, how you
contact with the
doing?
camera.
And let everybody know why they should pull up to Reparations, a party for the people on Saturday.
Hey, first of all, I'm going to start with food. You should pull up to Reparations, a party for the people, because we are going to be serving dinner. We want to break bread with our community. We're excited to have Simply Soulful making our meal for that night. We're also going to have Black Stacks, Rail Be Free, and Makata providing a special dance performance. It will be a night of beloved community, a night of celebration, and also time to get prepared for more wins in 2026. You can find more details at sarkpnw.org. I'll say that one more time, sarkpnw.org, SAARCPNW.org.
Awesome sauces. Well, shoot. Thank you so much for joining us and telling us all about the event. And then also, the work that you guys are doing over at SARC. In the meantime, in between time, Cuddy.
It's time for a commercial break.
It is time for another commercial break.
Pacific Northwest Ballet is thrilled to be back on stage with your favorite holiday tradition, the Nutcracker. Brighten your holidays with this timeless tale performed by PNB's incredible company of dancers to the live magic of the PNB Orchestra playing Tchaikovsky's classic score. Treat your loved ones to the Nutcracker at Seattle Center's McCaw Hall. For tickets, visit pnb.org.
Welcome back to Almost the Weekend. I'm Besa Gordon.
And I'm Curtis Delgado.
And guess what?
It's Weekend Picks.
Weekend picks. Where you going?
Where are you going? Nah, I'm probably, I'm not gonna lie, I think I'm gonna go to the R&B Super Bowl. I'm tapping when mood swings, lay back allure. The party's right there in the neighborhood. I'm not too far, so why not go catch a little vibe?
Why not? Why not? There was one event that I saw that I forgot to actually mention, and maybe you mentioned it and I just didn't hear it. I don't know. But it's like First Friday Art Walk.
Yeah, I mentioned that.
Okay.
Yeah, yep.
That's one of my weekend picks.
I heard you. Midtown Square, tap in.
That wasn't even one of my picks, but guess what? It's one of my weekend picks. The other one is the Snapped Football Food and Fun for a Cause that is happening where you're able to make a donation of $20 in person or online and bring 5 non-perishables. And this is happening over at the dockside.
Nice.
Something for the people.
Yeah.
So,
well, good weekend picks, good weekend options. So just like we made our picks, you should be confident in making yours.
Absolutely. And then another thing that you should be confident about picking is hopping yourself on King County Metro.
That part, I know you've seen our commercials in there. Yeah, we tapped in.
Absolutely. And then also there's a whole Seahawk game this weekend. Who wants to be driving through that?
And as you can see from my commercial, the light rail is going to get you right to that stadium, all right? Hey. Or
and
again.
Then, from my commercial, if you're over on the Vashon Island side, just hop on the water taxi.
And come tap
And
in
actually,
with
you
us.
can walk from the water taxi.
Yeah.
It's just right there.
Yeah.
Life will be good. Because let me tell you, I can see the freeway from my apartment, and when I be looking down, I'll be like, oof.
I'm good on
The
that.
traffic
bro.
is trafficking. So definitely do yourself a favor and take King County Metro this weekend and avoid the traffic, even if you're not going to the game, because who wants to sit in that? Anywho, look, that is it for this week's show of Almost the Weekend. Of course, you can keep up with me on social media at Besa Gordon. If you would like to advertise with us on Almost the Weekend, please reach out to advertise@whereweconverge.com.
And you guys can keep up with me at Cuddy the Sensei. That's CUDDYTHA Sensei. You can keep up with the show at Almost the Weekend PNW. And just remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and follow for more information, to stay updated what's going on in the city, and just to ultimately just be informed. And if you have an event yourself and you want it to be featured on our event calendar, just go to events@whereweconverge.com.
I know that's right. So with that being said, because a girl's birthday is coming up, I should have brought my big old jacket up in here that I was wearing with my little extra self earlier, child. It was cold though. It was cold. But either way, Cuddy, that's the end of the show.
Yep, come on, man. Almost the weekend. Another one in the books. Episode 20.
Absolutely. And so like Cuddy just said, it's almost the weekend. So we'll see y'all a little bit later.
Peace.